distribute. When we distribute a binomial times another binomial, we start by thinking every term gets to take their turn. So we are going to begin with x times x because we're multiplying this entire binomial by this entire binomial. So x times x is x squared. This x did his job. Now it's 4's turn. So we're going to set up to multiply x times 4. When we multiply x times 4, we get positive 4x. X did his job. Now it's 3's turn. So 3 times x. 3 times x is positive 3x. But notice where we put it. This is the x column. Just like way back when we first learned to add numbers, you had your ones column, your tens column, your hundreds column. Here, we've got our x column, we've got our x squared column. So when we combine like terms, we know that these two x's are like terms. The next thing we're going to do is multiply 3 by the 4. So when we multiply 3 times 4, we actually get 12. But we don't have a number column yet, so we create one. So now we've got our x squared column, we've got our x column, and we've got our number column. Next step is to combine like terms. So if there are any columns that are the same, we can put them together. But for like terms to work, that means your base and exponent must be the same. So in this case, there's only one squared term. Bring it down. There's only one number term. Bring it down. The only thing we're combining is the 4 and the 3. And if I've got 4 x's and I add another 3 x's, I have 7 x's. And that's our final answer. So let's try this again. A binomial times a binomial. First step, remember everybody gets a term. So we're going to start by multiplying x times x. When we multiply x times x, we're going to get x squared. Next, the second x did his job, so now it's negative 6's turn. So x times negative 6. When we multiply x by negative 6, we get negative 6x. X did his job. Now it's negative 2's turn. Negative 2 times x. Remember, the 2 is an integer. It's not just 2. The sign goes with the numbers. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And we place that below the negative 6x. Finally, we multiply negative 2 times negative 6. Remember your rules of multiplication. When we multiply a negative times a negative, we get a positive 12. Now we combine like terms. When we combine like terms, we never change exponents, and in order for them to be like terms, they must have the same base. So, x squared doesn't have anything to combine, bring it down. Same with positive 12. What happens when we combine a negative 6 with a negative 2? Right. You owe me $6, you borrow another 2. Trust me, the person that loaned you the money knows that you owe them $8. X minus 5 times x plus 7. We start x times x. Of course, we get x squared. Now it's 7's turn. We're multiplying by a positive 7. X times positive 7 plus 7x. X did his job. Now it's 5's turn, but remember, that's not just 5, it's negative 5. So negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And finally, negative 5 times a positive 7. Negative 35. When you multiply a negative times a positive, if signs are different, the product will be negative. Then combine like terms. We know x squared comes down. The same with negative 35. Notice in the middle, the signs are different. When we combine like terms and the signs are different, the first thing we do is consider what the sign's going to be. When I compare 7 with 5, I know that 7 is the bigger number. Since 7 is larger than 5, my result is positive. And then I just take the difference. The difference between 7 and 5 is 2. Therefore, our result is x squared plus 2x minus 35. That's our final answer. Okay, x minus 8 times x plus 3. We always start with the x. And I think by now we know x times x is x squared. Now it's 3's turn. That's a positive 3. So x times 3 is positive 3x. Next, x did his job. It's negative 8's turn. Negative 8 times x. Now remember, the x column stays together. Finally, a negative 8 times a positive 3. When signs are different, the result is always negative. When we combine like terms, the only thing to combine are the terms in the middle. Now this time, 8 is bigger than 3, so we get a negative result. So negative 8 plus 3, we take the difference of 8 and 3, but we know the answer is negative. Therefore, we get negative 5. And that's our final answer. Okay, so distribute. This time, we've got twins. X minus 7 times x minus 7. This could be written, ironically enough, as x minus 7 quantity squared. But we're not going to worry about that right now. Let's just distribute. X times x gives us x squared. Now it's negative 7's turn. Remember, we're not multiplying x times 7. We're multiplying x times negative 7. So when the x distributes to the negative 7, we get negative 7x. And x did his job. Now it's this negative 7's turn. So this negative 7 times this x. Ironically enough, negative 7 times x is still negative 7x. So these go together. And finally, negative 7 times negative 7. Remember, they both have the sign negative. So a negative times a negative is a positive. When we multiply and the signs are the same, the result is always positive when we multiply. All rules change when we combine like terms. We're not multiplying anymore. We're combining. So when we combine anything, x squared with nothing at all we have is x squared. The same happens with 49. But this is a negative 7 and a negative 7. We're not multiplying. Now we're adding. And when we add, we combine the 7s, but this really means I owe $7. So if I owe 7 now and I owe another 7, they don't cancel each other out. I actually owe $14. And that's my answer. X squared minus 14x plus 49. Okay, so our final example, this time we've got two binomials that almost look like twins, but they have one small difference. This one is a plus, this one is a minus. They're actually called conjugates, but we'll get there way down the road somewhere. So let's distribute. Remember, everybody gets a turn. So x times x is x squared. X did his job. Now we multiply by negative 9. Remember, it's an integer. That 9 is a negative. So x times negative 9 is negative 9x. X did his job. Now it's positive 9's turn. So positive 9 times x is positive 9x. And finally, 9 times 9, but one of them is positive and the other is negative. Remember, when signs are different and you multiply, you get a negative result. So, combine like terms. Remember, we bring down our x squared, we bring down our negative 81. What happens to the 9's in the middle when the signs are different? If I owe $9 and I pay $9, what do I owe? I owe nothing. I'm even. But if you have 0 x's, you don't put any x's. So our answer is x squared minus 81. When we have these special binomials that are conjugates, the middle term actually falls out. And we end up with a binomial instead of a trinomial. And that's our lesson for today. So just remember, combine like terms and make sure that you always put like terms in the same column, so that makes it so much easier to stay organized and combine.